Okay, we're going to jump right into today's little webinar. So we're talking about vegan sources of healthy nutrition, things that we want to be incorporating into our everyday meal plan, everyday life as often as possible, always aiming for 100%, but settling for 80% of the time that we're getting these nutrient-dense foods into our plan because life is going to be full of those moments when you cannot choose the healthiest thing or you're just not anywhere near, having control over what you're choosing to eat. It could be that you're traveling. It could be that you're visiting friends and family. It could just be that you're off. You're not feeling your best. Maybe you're not, you know, having 100% energy to do all the meal planning and cooking because you've been under the weather, or any number of life circumstances can knock you off track with healthy eating. So we want to do preventative healthcare measures by consuming, a plant prolific, plant forward, plant-based meal plan as often as possible because it is a proven mechanism to support our health, to give our body the full spectrum of vitamin and minerals that we need to function, to metabolize, to move through the day with the energy that we need to take actions that bring us joy. We need that. So in today's presentation, we're talking specifically about legumes and beans. It's the featured plant-based superstar of the Art and Science series. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and just dive right into this presentation with no further ado. So basically, in a nutshell, where we're headed in this presentation quickly is I want to talk a little bit about the nutrition in the food, right? The science, right? The part of it that's not really negotiable. Beans have X number of XYZ in them. We need to know that so that we can understand why it's so important to consume them as a source of protein. And then part two is really the art. How do you make it look pretty and taste good? Because we want to enjoy the process of healthy eating. And then part three, I call the practice. And that's really me giving you some recipes to get into action on this and learning a little bit about how I work with my clients, so that if anybody here is interested in taking the next step on your wellness journey, I am here for you. So my name's Deborah. I'm a holistic health coach. I'm a plant-based chef. I've been working in this field for quite a while, about 17 years. I ran a juice bar for about 14 of those years. And my mission is really to help people activate levers of health where they can save time, save money, and radically improve their health and prevent chronic illness. And eating plant-based meals is one of the easiest ways to do that. So I help my clients increase their energy and reduce risk of chronic illness through plant-based nutrition programs that I created. And like I said, I've been at this for 17 years as a holistic health coach and a juice bar owner. And I also, I have a former career as an event producer, so I combined those things and have hosted hundreds of health-focused events. I've worked with lots of really exciting companies and brands and not-for-profits, and I've been privileged to work with literally thousands of busy New Yorkers at first when it was always in person, and now globally, folks on the internet, to really transform the way that their life is through dietary, nutrition, and other lifestyle shifts that are baby steps, but that add up to long-lasting change. And I think the most important thing to know about me is that I spent a lot of time practicing this in my own life. I really began this journey to improve my own health and wellness. And I have learned to say no to foods that drain me or have a cumulative negative effect on my cells at a cellular level. And I've learned to really embrace foods that light me up, that give me energy, that won't harm my body, that provide the type of nutrition that I need to go out there and kick some booty. So in this program, the Art and Science of the Healthy Bowl, my goal is really to show you how you can begin to make that shift for yourself. So you can move away from symptoms like low energy, fatigue, poor sleep, excess weight gain, right? As we age, as women, especially heading into perimenopause, menopause, late stages of hormone change, we want to embrace those changes and not let that be a downfall for our health and have a cumulative negative effect. So we can have a plan for foods that we can be eating and incorporating every single day and cooking every single day that help to naturally combat those symptoms, so we can begin to relieve our body of those stressful symptoms, that we can increase the amount of energy we have access to and really feel strong and healthy as we age. So we know for a fact, not debatable, not my opinion, a fact, that eating a diet rich in plant-based foods like fruits and veggies, whole grains, legumes, which is the superstar we're going to feature today, nuts, seeds, herbs, and staying really hydrated. This is the number one proven method that we have access to control and reduce the risk of long-term chronic illness in our bodies. So there's all sorts of empirical data. There have been lots of studies conducted to link nutrition choices to the impact that our food has on our long-term health. So there's lots of great books out there. One of my favorites is How Not to Die. I'll link to that in the email or the chat. But there's just so many great resources that really illustrate the positive impact that a plant-based diet has on our system. So that brings us to the science. What's in a healthy, balanced bowl? And why should we be prioritizing eating plant-based meals? So you're probably familiar with the basic essential nutrients. You've heard of carbohydrates and proteins and fats are macronutrients, and you're familiar with water, vitamins, minerals, the micronutrients. And so the main takeaway, a very broad stroke thing I want to impress upon you at this moment is that we want to try to keep these essential nutrients in balance. We want to make sure that we're getting enough of each of these things every single day, because a balance of these nutrients is going to be what provides our bodies, our muscles, our cells, our long bones, our soft tissue between joints, all of that, our vital organs, our hair, our skin, with the nutrition that it needs to remain in integrity. And when we fall deficient in any of these categories, it can lead to imbalances in the system that can then eventually lead to illness in the system overall and a series of imbalances that become chronic illnesses. So we want to avoid deficiency. We want to try and stay in balance. So I follow a plan, and I'm going to share with you now, called the Daily Dozen. This was a term coined by Dr. Michael Greger. I referred to him already. He wrote the best-selling book, How Not to Die, which is kind of like the vegan plant-based Bible. He's dedicated his career to the study of how nutrition impacts our health. And so the Daily Dozen really refers to his 12 categories of foods and beverages that we should consume on a daily basis to get a complete spectrum of healthy nutrition from a plant-based diet. And I should note that this guideline assumes eating a diet that doesn't necessarily contain a lot of animal protein in it. It's not a problem if you do consume an omnivore diet. You want to be thinking in terms of how can I incorporate all of these nutrients in their cleanest, most pure form. And, spoiler, an easy way to do that is to consume these nutrients through plants. But that's just to say that the actual specific recommendation of the amount per serving that we're about to discuss in just a minute is based on eating a plant-based diet. So just so that you're aware of that. So there they are, the Daily Dozen. And of course, beans is right there, number one. I've got it highlighted for today's presentation. But let's just zip through these other 11 before we dive deeply into legumes. So berries are their own category on the Daily Dozen, as in addition to other fruits. And that's really because berries, with their very dark red, purple, and blue pigment, they're really rich in antioxidants. So the pigment that's found in berries is called anthocyanin, and that anthocyanin, that pigment, is the medicinal property in berries, and it's quite robust, and it's it's an extremely high source of that antioxidant, which is anti-inflammatory. It's very, very good for us. So because of that, we give them their own category, in addition to other fruits, which we want to have at least 3 servings per day, and that would include everything else: your apples, bananas, your citrus, melons. There's so many, pomegranates, pears, anything seeded. So even technically an avocado would fall into the fruit category, big old seed in the middle. So moving on, we've got 3 different breakdown categories of vegetables, and that's because each of these categories presents a different type of nutrition, all of which we want to make sure we're highlighting and getting enough of. So for that reason, we've got cruciferous veggies, one serving per day, greens, 2 servings per day, and other veggies, 2 servings per day. And just quickly to cover that, cruciferous would be all of your brocchiaceous family. That would be like your broccoli, your cauliflower, cabbage, kale is a cruciferous, horseradish is a cruciferous, radishes, they're very rugged, they're very high in magnesium. Dark leafy greens would be your lettuces, your kale, your romaine, your spinach, arugula, bok choy, yu choy, lots of different leafy greens. There's so many in that category. And say they have a lot of phytochemicals, phytonutrients in those big, broad green leaves. So the phytochemicals and the phytonutrients that you're getting and the chlorophyll that you're getting is a very specific, healthy element that we want to make sure we're getting enough of. And then other veggies tend to be on the starchy side, right? So they have a type of carbohydrate in them called starch, most in the other veg category. So it would be potatoes, things like sweet potatoes and beets, corn, your squash family. There's so many great other vegetables to be considered, and they just have a different nutritional profile. So that's why they have their own category. Then we've got flaxseed. And the reason that flaxseed has its own category in the Daily Dozen is because of its robust amount of omega-3 fatty acids. This is an essential nutrient that's really hard to get inside the plant kingdom, but you can get them quite robustly inside both flax and chia seeds. So for that reason, Dr. Greger recommends 1 serving per day of about I think it's about a half a teaspoon. And then herbs and spices, really robust with their nutritional properties and also quite medicinal, healing, and anti-inflammatory. So lots of herbs and spices to choose from. And he recommends cooking with them to incorporate them into getting your serving per day. But think about turmeric and ginger and cinnamon, nutmeg, oregano, basil. There's so many wonderful fresh herbs and spices that have medicinal properties. And then nuts and seeds are a really wonderful source of healthy fat, really important for brain function. We need healthy fat in our diet, and it's important that we're getting these clean sources of healthy fat that don't have a lot of saturated fat in them. So nuts and seeds provide that to us. And then whole grains, an essential part of the plant-based diet. Whole grains provide protein. They're loaded with minerals. There's great, very robust. Many of the whole grains in the ancient grain family have most of, if not all of, the 9 essential amino acids that we need. So there's tons and tons of health benefits from eating whole grains, and they do provide a lot of protein as well. And then water gets its own category because it's critical that we stay hydrated and continue to hydrate our bodies throughout the day. It's a part of our digestive process, and 80% of our bodies are made up of water, so we need to keep that quota filled by replenishing throughout the day so we're not dehydrated. And then category 12, my favorite, not a food, but critical to digestion as well. On the Daily Dozen, we consider exercise part of the plant-based diet. And that's moving in a way that feels good to you, trying to get your heart rate elevated over 120 for about 30 minutes a day. That's considered a serving. And the thing that's so important about exercise is it helps to keep our metabolism moving. It helps to move our lymphatic system. It keeps our heart rate pumping. It keeps the blood moving through our veins. It keeps the process of disseminating the nutrition happening. It helps to move our bowels, eliminate waste from the system. Exercise is really a critical function. It helps in so many ways to improve our digestion and overall wellness, because again, we don't want anything getting stagnant or stuck in the digestive tract. So there you have it. So now let's take a deeper look at category number 1, beans. Because that's our featured highlight today for today's art and science webinar. So beans, inexpensive, simple to prepare, and super healthy. You need them. Why? Because they are so good for you. And like I said already, they're so cheap and they're so simple. And they're also one of the most resourceful plants on the globe. Beans have been consumed by indigenous cultures for many thousands of years. Entire societies have lived on legumes and are very healthy and live to be at ripe old ages. So they're pod-borne seeds from leguminous plants. And like I said, they've been cultivated for thousands of years, and they're a really great way to load up specifically on fiber, which is important for digestion, and of course, plant-based protein. They're a really rich source of protein, and we need protein for healthy muscles. Think about it this way. Our muscles hold our skeleton upright as we age, so we need good protein to help infuse those muscles. So great, they provide protein, fiber, folate, which is critical for the regeneration of cells, iron, an important mineral, potassium, magnesium. And in addition to having all those really beneficial minerals and nutrients, they don't contain very much total fat. They don't contain any trans fat. They're low in or pretty much void of sodium and cholesterol. So Typical beans found in America are going to be in the United States: black beans, kidney beans, fava beans, pinto beans, and uh, navy beans. The navy beans are actually over there on the left, the white ones, believe it or not, even though they're called navy. And so, because of their high concentration of health promoting nutrients, beans have been studied for their ability to help decrease the risk of a lot of common illnesses and diseases, including heart disease, obesity, and also many types of cancer. So there have been, like I talked about earlier, there's lots and lots of empirical data that trace and link the nutrition found in beans to lowering your risk of many of these chronic illnesses. Here's a quick snapshot. You can take a screenshot of what's found in 1 cup of cooked pinto beans specifically. Now, I couldn't obviously provide, this nutrition snapshot for every single bean right now. So I chose one that is extremely nutrient rich and really easy to cook, which is pinto beans. So you can think about this as like sort of a kind of a representative bean protein profile. I use the Harvard nutrition site quite a lot. I use a site called nutritionfacts.org. If you're interested in doing your own research, just shoot me an email and I'll send you links where there are trustworthy sources. Okay, so anyways, protein, 15 grams of protein. That's quite a lot for a cup, but only 1 gram of fat, right? So low fat. Carbs, 45 grams of carbs, but again, carbs from fiber. And you're getting, so it's important to know, is it carbohydrates coming from starch, or is it from another type of metabolic construct? High in iron, 20% of the daily value, calcium, 8% of your daily value, magnesium, 21% of your daily value, phosphorus, potassium. Look at folate, 74% of your daily intake of folate, daily required value. So that's really high. Folate, again, is an important for regenerating cell tissue. So if you're ever repairing damage, whether you ran a marathon or if you're, pregnant women are supposed to take a lot of extra folate supplements to support the new life that they're building. But it's also great to think about regenerating cell tissue if you have wear and tear, like an injury or exhaustion or fatigue. Folate is an important mineral to keep track of. Beans, very high in folate. So here's recommended serving sizes: about 1/4 cup of hummus or bean dip, or about 1/2 cup of cooked beans would be 1 serving. Dr. Greger recommends 3 servings per day in some form of beans. So that could be that you have hummus and apple slices as a snack, and then later that night you have an entire cup of beans in maybe you had a black bean burger or stew, like a lentil stew or something like that. Tofu is also, it's a soy product, right? And so is tempeh. So this is also going to be a great source of protein that you get from beans. Or a fresh cup of peas, sprouted lentils. And there it is, 3 servings per day. And here's a whole list of different types of beans you can try. So there you have a great list. You can take a screenshot of that before I move on. Okay, and how to incorporate them, right? So they're really versatile. Another really excellent thing about beans is that they can be prepared in so many different ways. They can be transformed into so many different textures. They can be soaked and softened. They can be mashed and turned into burgers. They can be sauteed in a stir fry. You can bake them into a bake. You can blend them into a smoothie or hummus. You can mash them and make them into some type of a mashed thing. They can be made into crackers. They can be eaten raw. There's so many things you can do. Burger patties, soups, sprinkle it on your salad, tortillas, pizza crust. I mean, they can do anything. And then the other thing is that they're really adaptable to take on many different types of flavor, right? So you can give the flavor profile that you are craving. You can use different seasonings and spices to have it taste like Mexican food or Thai food or Italian. So using different spices and flavor profiles, you can transform the texture and the flavor of your beans to really make them palatable and delicious. And then because of the wide variety and flexibility, they are some of the most highly nutritious foods on the planet that are also so low cost and simple to cook. So I keep hitting that point, but think about it. You're getting so much bang for your buck in this food. So in summary, beans, they're an excellent source of protein. They're a macronutrient critical to build healthy muscle tissue and they're a healthy source of fiber, folate, iron, potassium, magnesium, while containing little to no trans fat, total fat, sodium, or cholesterol. So really, really wonderful. This is why I'm highlighting them today as a superstar. Let's talk about the art now. What's going to make these beans beautiful and delicious and help it make it so easy for you to crave them and begin wanting to include them in your daily diet? Replacing one meal a week from a meat source to a veggie source is transformative for your life, for the planet. So we want to make this attractive and fun. So I created a tool that I call the Balance Bowl Formula. And in just a minute, I'm going to drop a bunch of links for you into the chat. So this is the Balance Bowl Formula. This is what it looks like. And just in a really quick snapshot, you can see it's a PDF that you can print. You can hang it on your fridge, and you can refer to this very quickly when you're trying to construct a healthy, balanced bowl. So as you can see, our featured highlighted food today, legumes, they are going to fall under a couple different categories. They're either going to fall under your pack and your protein category, or potentially under your complex carb category. And they could also potentially sneak their way into some extra nourish, depending on what meal you're having. But in a nutshell, this formula is going to help you build a spectrum and variety of nutrient-dense foods into your daily meal plan without having to overthink it. So this is, you're in a rush, you're very busy, you don't have time to spend all day meal planning. I mean, if you do, fantastic. I love a good meal plan. I literally teach meal planning. But I want you to know that you don't have to sacrifice your wellness and give up on having a healthy meal just because you don't have a gourmet recipe prepared. You can throw a bunch of greens in a bowl, slice up some veggies, incorporate a couple of fruits, pack in your protein, make sure you're getting a little drizzle of healthy fat. You could get that with olive oil or coconut oil or some nuts and seeds or maybe a slice of avocado. And then making sure you're getting some starchy carbs, right? You're getting brown rice or a sweet potato or some peas, which would be a great source of protein as well. Extra nourish is several flavor enhancing, digestive aid type foods. Things are gonna maybe like getting a little bit of extra nutrient quality into maybe a salad dressing or some protein from feta cheese, some digestive aid from your apple cider vinegar. And then at the bottom on the right-hand bottom corner, you see that I've given you a ratio. Roughly what percentage of your bowl do you want to be each of these different categories? Again, I'm going to drop the link in the chat for you right now. You can grab this PDF, or you can get it where you're watching the replay. Scroll down, you'll get the recipes and the link for the Balance Bowl Formula. So we know that when it comes to supporting your health, we want to be eating a spectrum of nutrient dense foods from fresh, colorful, vibrant sources. And so I'm going to give you 3 legume specific recipes. I'm popping them in the chat. Grab them below where you're watching this video. And I'm just going to move to what I like to think of as the practice. So this is the portion of the talk where I just want to talk to you a little bit about how important it is to practice the art of incorporating these foods on a consistent, regular basis. So we have to be doing this as often as possible. We want to be including these foods so that we are preventing illness on a weekly basis. This can't be just one time we had a great salad that one time. No, we want to get out in front of high cholesterol. We want to avoid all of those health issues. So when it comes to doing this, what my clients tell me over and over again, and I listen to them, is that there's a couple of problems that they face, and that it's not as easy as it looks to always be on top of healthy meal planning. And the main issues are that it's time consuming to do meal prep, that shopping can be expensive and overwhelming, that if they're dealing with picky eaters or somebody in the household who's got a dietary restriction, right? Can you relate to any of those so far? And then at the bottom line is that at the end of the day, if healthy food isn't already prepped, isn't already ready to go, by the time they hit 5 p.m. and they've gotten done with a busy work day or whatever's going on in their busy life, exhaustion can set in, and it just becomes much easier to order takeout or grab something prepackaged or consume a processed food that just sort of solves the problem of what's for dinner. And so I say to my clients all the time, that would be fine every once in a while. But the problem is that poor quality nutrition on an ongoing basis is linked to and can be the cause of so many health issues that we want to avoid, that we need to avoid as we age, right? So we know that it leads to high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, excess weight gain that we're trying to avoid, which not only does it weigh us down, but it physically slows us down. And in addition, it's also linked to other health conditions that we want to avoid: joint pain, irritable bowel syndrome, dry, irritated, itchy skin. And all of these things can then lead to anxiety and depression. So we want to avoid all of this stuff as we age. And so my solution to how to get into practice to avoid these issues in our life and in our health as we age is to build a weekly habit of meal prep, to make it fun, to make it inclusive, to do it in community, to make it creative, to turn it into an art form, and to ensure that plant-based nutrition is a key part of your preventative healthcare plan. So now I just want you to imagine for a moment, would you love to have a done for you plan that includes balanced, healthy meals? And so that you don't have to come up with this all on your own, plus the accountability to show up and actually do all that prep in your kitchen, but within a group of people who are like-minded and also trying to overcome this challenge of creating a healthy habit out of healthy plant-based meal planning. And if the answer to that was yes, I'd love that, then I want to share with you how I work with my clients, which is I created a low-cost membership called Balanced Bowls for Busy Pros. And it's literally a nutrition education and meal prep membership. So the core promise of my program is that we build a system into your life in 4 very simple steps. We start by identifying your ideal dietary choices, right? So you have to know, am I going to eat the omnivore meal plan? Am I eating vegan? Am I eating gluten-free? What meals are going to satisfy both myself and anyone else in my household? That I need to get crystal clear the foods that are on my regular rotation, and how to balance those. That's very individual, right? And then the next thing we do is develop a schedule that reflects the reality of your life. Your 9 to 5. Are you raising children? Are you a traveler? How does your life look? Are you a marathon runner? There's details that are personal to you that impact your weekly schedule it's just not one-stop shopping. So then next, you need to implement that weekly meal prep schedule, the thing that we come up with together that says, yes, this will work for me, with those ideal dietary choices. And we put them all together in a plan for you and execute small baby steps of getting into the kitchen and prepping a few meals at a time. Now, how do we get that done quickly and easily? It's because I give you all of these meal plans and shopping lists and prep schedules and timeline schedules and accountability, and I call you into action into the kitchen with me to make sure that you're actually getting it done. So the idea is that you're able to create your healthy meals without having to wonder what foods you should be eating, without having to search the internet for recipes, because it's literally all done for you. So I provide you with all of the tools that you would need, so you don't have to do any of that work. All you have to do is show up in your own kitchen and physically take some baby steps to do a little bit of prep each week. So you get the done for you designed meal plans, nutritionally designed based on 17 years of my work as a nutrition and health coach. You get shopping lists that are organized by food type, so easily found in your grocery store or easily ordered online because they're organized by category. You get step-by-step prep guides that eliminate any guesswork of what order should I do this in to save me time. And of course, I include mini trainings on essential nutrition facts, and I provide you with a weekly system for implementing through accountability. So we do all that together, and there's also 2 lives every month. One is a cooking class where we get together and we choose a meal plan and we meal prep together. And then the other one is a Q&A where people get to come on live with me and do one-on-one coaching. And all that happens inside the membership. And it's been such a blast having a community around this so far. So I'm really proud of that. I've got great clients. Here's a quote from Brenda, who says that she learned so many ways to simplify. And she had already been eating plant-based, but the program helped to ensure that she's getting the right kind of nutrition in each meal in her day, which I love that. And then this is an amazing testimony from my client, Susan, who totally dropped processed sugar out of her life as a result of this program. And she reported back to me that she is just so surprised. She's eating healthier than ever because of some very simple changes that she made right away within the first week of starting to work with the content inside the program. What you get in total if you decide to join this membership with me is you starts with 8 nutritionally designed meal plans that are already in there. Any one of them can be downloaded right away. You get your shopping list, your step-by-step prep guides, the plant-based educational tools if you're interested in consuming more nuggets and wisdom of info, live Zoom prep classes, Q&A, 2 months of free membership inside the Balance Bowl membership, which is the community. And also you get the peace of mind of knowing that you are investing in your long-term chronic health, your wellness. You're creating a body that you can be very happy and joyful in, and that can, basically prevent illness as you age. So here's the best part of the whole thing. You can join me inside Balance Bowls for $147. But if you take action right now while you're watching this video, or for the limited time, if you get the replay, once I send you the email, there'll be a limited time that you can use the code BALANCE and get $50 off the admission. So you would be getting into this program for $97. And that is a total steal. I really, truly hope that you decide to join me and invest in the future of your wellness. I would just leave you with this last thought, which is that the quality of our lives, truly, it often depends on the quality of our habits. So I invite you to make healthy, balanced nutrition a new habit with me. And I hope that you decide to join me. Use that code BALANCE and get $50 off. All right, friends, that's all for today. It's time for Q&A.